I think everybody's familiar with that phrase that's time flies when you're having fun. And I think that might be why this year has gone by so slowly. I'm actually just kidding. It has been an incredibly fast year, and I just want to talk about my journey since the time that I left my job, now that it has been an entire year. Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me today. My name is Matt, and as I mentioned in the intro, I wanted to kind of take a break from the finance and real estate talks, even though there's a bunch of good news to be talking about, and just give you an update about how I've been since I left my job, since it has been basically a year to the day, and almost been a year since I posted my very first video to YouTube. I was actually wearing the shirt in my very first video, so that's why I decided to wear it today. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about how I've been during this past year. Even though I've given context about why I left my job in previous videos, including that first video, it just doesn't feel right for me to not give any background information. So just want to give a quick overview as to why I left my job. And also just a little other background. So again, real quickly, I was a horrible student in high school. I got denied from every college that I applied to and was told by a guidance counselor in high school that I really should not even consider going to college because I just simply won't make it. So went to community college first year, got out of community college, went to East Carolina, graduated 3 years later with a degree in finance and had a job ready to go in finance. So on paper, everything was going fine. You know, I was able to prove to myself that I can make it into finance. I did it. And I just realized when I finally got to that end goal that I wasn't happy. And again, on paper, everything seemed fine, but overall, I was just not happy with how hard I worked to get to this position and just not be enjoying what I was doing. And when I say I wasn't happy, I truly mean I was just not a happy person. I was miserable Sunday through Friday because Sundays I knew that I had to spend 5 days at work, and then just every single day it was waking up in the morning and just counting the minutes until I would be home from work and that day would be over with. I always woke up sick in the morning just because I really did not like my job. So anyway, after about, I would say 2.5 years of contemplating quitting my job, what am I going to do next? I heard two quotes by Jim Rohn over time that ultimately helped me make my decision that it is time for me to leave. The first one is Jim Rohn says something along the lines of, you should get paid for the value you create, not the time. And I've mentioned this before, and I don't say this to pat myself on the back or anything, but I brought the finance company I was working with $500 million in new assets and new clients over the time frame that I was there, but I struggled getting promotions and moving up in the company, or even just getting recognition for trying my hardest. And I'm not really one that's an attention seeker by any means, but it does get hard when you watch the people around you who just aren't as good at the job or aren't as knowledgeable as you are and get the promotions and all the attention and recognition while, you know, I was trying my absolute hardest but not moving anywhere. And a colleague of mine who is also really good at what he did told me that the reason why I will never get the attention is because I don't seek it. If I have a problem, I face it, I own it, I handle it, and then I just move on once it's all done, but I don't make a big deal about it. He said other people, when they have a problem, they're the first ones that stand up out of their cube, walk around the entire floor telling everybody about their problem, and then they tell everybody when they fix it. And that's how they keep getting the recognition. But he said, me just sitting there doing my job like you're supposed to, he said, you'll never get the recognition. And that did not sit well with me because, again, I'm more one of those just don't bother me, let me do my work and let me get done what I need to do. And again, I don't ever really seek after attention. So it was hard watching some of these people just accelerate through this company where I was struggling and was admittedly deserving of a promotion. And I realized that I was creating so much value for this company, but wasn't getting paid for it. So that kind of was the first reason why I wanted to quit the job, or that was one of the first things that put me on the path towards quitting. The next one, and I'm going to see if I can play this quote from Jim Rohn, but we'll see if it works.
What are you going to do starting tomorrow that'll make a difference? Now see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? It's gonna be the same. And see, that way you can guess what the next 5 years are gonna be like. Look at the last 5. Because the next 5 are going to be like the last 5 unless you, Major Key, tomorrow, change it all. Or change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life.
And so after hearing that, I finally decided I need to actually make a change in my life. So literally the next morning after I heard that quote, I woke up, I found when the closest time for me to take my real estate class would be, and it was about a month away, which was perfect. It gave me about time to put in my 2 weeks, and then it also gave me 2 weeks to just kind of calm down from leaving that job. Obviously, it was very exciting, but I didn't want to jump right into something else immediately. I personally just felt like after 2.5 years of being miserable, I really needed just 2 weeks to myself and kind of think about what do I want to do with my own life. And so the first thing I want to talk about were the challenges, or are the challenges, from leaving my job. And we'll skip it. You guys already know I went to real estate school, passed all the exams, and I now work in real estate. So no need to go into those details this time. But one of the first challenges I was facing after quitting my job was having my friends around me understanding what I was doing. And overall, I have to say, when I was telling people I was quitting my job, the responses that I received were very positive, and everybody was very supportive. One of the things that you heard more times than not was, wow, I wish I could quit my job. And I would just kind of smile and continue on, because I was literally thinking of the Jim Rohn quote that entire time of it's nice to know that at any point in time you can make a change in your life. But some people really struggle holding on to or understanding that concept. But anyway, when I first left my job, I was obviously in real estate school. And I was dedicated to passing this exam on the first go around. I didn't want to pay any money, any extra money that I needed to in case I failed the exam. So it was important for me to pass this on the first try. I couldn't waste time retaking this class. And I just ultimately wanted to get back to work as quickly as possible, making money again. So I was basically like non-existent for a few months when I first left. And it's just because, again, I was studying all the time. So a friend asked me if I wanted to go get a beer on a Friday night. My answer was always I can't, because odds are I was probably sitting in the living room as my girlfriend was running through flashcards with me. And so rightfully so, I think a lot of my friends thought maybe I was like avoiding them, or if I was kind of changing as a person. And again, rightfully so, because I was not responsive at all, or I was just never committing to hanging out with anybody. But it's hard to explain to somebody the dream that you're after when they just don't get it. And so, you know, as soon as it was done, or as soon as I was done with all this testings and exams and whatnot, I really did feel like it was just very important for me to spend time with my friends again and make sure they know, hey, that's over with, I'm back, we can hang out. I just needed to have that time to put myself on the best path possible. And again, it was something they were very understanding of at that time, and I also understand why they think I was being distant. But that was one of the more interesting or unexpected challenges that I faced when I left this job. And of course, then we had the good old coronavirus come around. And admittedly, I don't actually say this is like a real challenge for me, because it's something that affected everybody. So I was not alone, and there's no way I could have planned for a global pandemic to happen a few months after I quit my job. I don't think anybody saw that on their radar, and I just think that it would be more mentally draining if I harped on the virus and use that as an excuse to not do well, again, when it's something that everybody else was having to deal with anyway. And I really saw what the virus has done to a lot of people. I mean, aside from getting sick, it has been mentally draining on a lot of people because they are harping on the challenges that have been faced from this virus. And to me, I just know that would very quickly get me down, and I just kind of wanted to accept what was going on and keep moving forward with my head in the right direction. And it wasn't going to let something like a virus slow me down from my new career. Now, of course, it's not easy to start on the right foot when your new 100% commission career with a lockdown taking place. But again, it was something all other agents were having to adjust to as well. So I wasn't alone. And if anything, I used that virus as my excuse to ask what was probably stupid questions. You know, even if I didn't know, like, what forms to send or something to somebody, I would reach out to their agent and just be like, hey, did you have any additional like provisions or anything you needed with the virus? And most of the times they'd be like, what are you talking about? And I would just be like, oh, never mind, I have the right form here while I was still looking up the answers. So I kind of used it to my advantage in that way, but it was still, I would say that it probably pumped the brakes a little bit on the start of my career, but nothing that I couldn't control. And lastly, does have to do with money. Now, money has been a real struggle, but I expected that. When you go from a pretty decent paying job to absolutely no income and having to pay a lot of money to become a real estate agent, finances were tough, and I can admit that, and they're still tough because, I mean, I've closed 2 houses by now, so I have made some money since I've left my job, but it is hard, and you do have to change your lifestyle when you go from that paycheck every other week guaranteed to then just fighting for every single paycheck. It is a humbling experience though, because again, you have to change your life so that you don't, I can't just continue to go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday to breweries or events or concerts or anything because my budget doesn't allow it. I've also had to let my hair get a little bit longer because I space out the time in between haircuts. But again, these are all things that I expected going into leaving my job and going into a 100% commission career. So again, while it's been a challenge, it's not like this came out of the blue, and it is something that I planned for. Obviously, I'm really hoping that this channel can get monetized so I can use this as just a little support, but I'm also excited for the real estate market to be back to normal and at a consistent pace again. But I will say the last thing about money that made it hard is it's hard when you make a change like this because a lot of your life gets put on hold. And it seems like you're headed down this new path with new opportunities and experiences, and that's absolutely correct. But then there's other kind of like next steps in life things that you just have to wait for. And a good example of that is buying a house. I have another year to wait before I can even apply for a mortgage because a lender wants to see that you've been self-employed for 2 years. So this is something a lot of us do face, but again, it was strange to think that I'm trying to make myself a better person, yet a lot of my like next steps in life on paper had to just be put on the back burner for the time being. So what are some pros or positive things about leaving my job? And this is, I think, probably the most important part. I think one of the biggest pros for me, though, is that I am no longer waking up every morning counting the minutes until I get home from work. And I would truly wake up every single morning with a sick feeling in my stomach because I just didn't want to face the day anymore. Not like that, but I just didn't want to go to work anymore. I really hated my job so much that I would just be in a miserable mood every morning. I just remember being like not sleeping the night because I was so worked up about having to go to work the next day, and then I remember like falling asleep in my car on the way to work multiple times, sitting in traffic, and just it was not a healthy lifestyle for me. Now, since leaving my job, I still wake up every morning, typically anywhere from like 6:30 to 7:30 range-ish, and I treat my days as if I have a desk job because that's how I keep myself in a routine and don't just become kind of lazy. And it's very easy to sit on the couch and play Xbox all day, but I like having the routine still. And so instead of waking up miserable every morning, I wake up kind of excited to start the day, and I wake up just as early but with so much more positive energy because I'm excited to see what opportunities the day brings. Of course, there'll be some down days still. It's not every day is going to be as productive as the other ones, but overall, it's just nice starting off the mornings without that sick, nauseous feeling in your stomach, dreading what the day has for you. I'm also much more calm now that I've left my job. And I know many of you just know me through these videos, so this may or may not come across as a surprise, but I can get pretty anxious pretty quickly. And it's something I'm aware of, it's something I acknowledge. But when I was working in my job, I would just get triggered at very little things. Down to my computer moving slow would just like throw me off. And I would just get like real angry, not like aggressive, but I would just still get angry and disappointed and frustrated at the littlest little things. Littlest little things? That does not sound correct. Anyway, it's just nice now to like not sweat the little things because I'm not worked up all the time. And I mean, overall, again, I'm a happier person. So it's just nice to be able to be more calm and not always be constantly like stressed out, worked up, driving as quickly as possible, get to places because, I would leave late to work because I just didn't want to be there. And that's also, I think, maybe something that's been very good for me because I'm a firm believer that if you're constantly stressed 24/7, that it has to have some negative effect on your body and could ultimately, influence your health. And I just kind of felt at, 22 to 25 years old, I was way too stressed out all the time. And I really needed to make a change before it actually did something damaging to my either, mental health or physical health. Again, since I've left my job, my patients have gotten a lot better. They're still thin, but they're thicker than they once were. And that is something that I never thought I'd be able to say, because I kind of thought that the job put me in like a permanent rut. But little did I know I would grow out of it. And it's crazy to think that I think it really goes to show that money can't always buy happiness. I do think it helps, but having a consistent paycheck does not make me any happier. And if anything, I have not been receiving a consistent paycheck, but I've been much happier as a person. And I just think that's something worth noting, and take it with a grain of salt. But if you ever kind of think that just getting a higher paycheck is going to make you happier, it's not going to if it doesn't have a dramatic change on your life. I've also been able to learn some new skills. Well, obviously it goes out saying real estate is now my career, but there's been so much to learn and so much exciting stuff about real estate and how it could be, how you invest in it, different kind of loans and all that nerdy stuff that I'm into. And, I just enjoy looking at houses at the end of the day too. And so I've had to learn, the abilities of like time management, again, just staying on top of things and not letting things go to the wayside because you don't have a manager watching over your back. This is all on you. And so, I've had to learn how to be more organized, more productive, and efficient. But I've learned, it seems like the older I get, the more I enjoy learning, especially when it has to do with things like investing or money and anything money related. And so it's been a really nice experience to learn so much about real estate. And it's also allowed for me to learn a lot more about the area I live in. I learned about new areas I've never heard of before, seen houses in areas I've never seen before, and I've got to see different towns grow. And it's only been a year. And so that part has been really exciting, and learning these new skills, even just down to the way you negotiate with people, has been something that I've learned how to do, I think, pretty well so far. Also, I think I've gotten a little bit better at my video editing. No Peter McKinnon by any means, but I do think my videos have gotten a little better when compared to me sitting on the couch downstairs in my living room with all the growlers in the background to now I've got like this microphone and this cool little back wall thing and a clock, and some other stuff is going to come up soon. But that's just been something I've really enjoyed. And, this video editing thing has kind of become more or less of a hobby of mine since I've left my job. I used to make skate videos when I was a kid, and that's a completely different ballgame when it comes to making and editing videos. But still, these are just things that I have really enjoyed. And my light's about to die, so bear with me. All right, sorry about that. My light that I have on my camera died, and just wanted to make sure. It helps a lot, so I had to charge that. But I think, so I've learned a lot about video editing. It's gonna die again. Anyway, I've learned a lot about video editing, and I think that brings me to the next thing, which is actually making these videos. This is something that, had I still been working in finance, I would not have the ability to do because you're regulated, you're a control person, you could be giving out information that your company gives you, and it's just a whole long list of things like why you can't make videos like this if you work in finance. And this has really been like an unintentional thing from me leaving my job, because I originally started this channel with the purpose of documenting my career of becoming a real estate agent, hopefully going from a time where I was miserable at one job to having a very successful career in real estate. And as I was doing this series, I just realized that it was a little too, I don't think personal is the right word, because I'm pretty open with you guys anyway, but I just didn't want, for the sake of my clients, to be talking about their journey of buying a house, problems, issues, all of that stuff, while that was actually going on. And so I wanted to pivot, and that's where I started making these videos more and more about finance and stocks, because these are conversations that I used to have when I worked in finance that I really enjoyed having. The problem is, though, when you do this for a career and when you're working at a call center, having these kinds of conversations, maybe like one in every 12 phone calls is going to be an enjoyable conversation. The other 11, you are just going to be getting screamed at for no reason. And, you get people who just can't accept their own ignorance, so they just yell at you and tell you have no life. And it was rough because, again, I truly just wanted to help. That was all I ever wanted to get out of it, is just my favorite conversations were the ones where I would hang up with somebody and before they let me go, they would just say like, thank you for taking the time to actually explain this to me. I really enjoyed it and now I feel like I understand my finances better. And that to me was perfect. If I had that every time, there's a chance I might have been staying in finance, but because it was just, that's not how the conversations went, it just kind of drove me crazy. And I have to admit, I fully expected a lot more negative comments on my videos because, we're in that day and age where everybody's a keyboard warrior and they just tear people apart on the internet. But, with the exception of like one comment over all 75 videos that I've posted, I have received nothing but some of the most supportive and nice comments that I've ever seen. And so that is definitely a great surprise for me because I enjoy hearing the feedback from all of you, the suggestions. Shout out to Billy, because Billy's been actually really supportive for me with trying to grow my channel. And he took the time, I think it was on the Dollar General video, to actually help me understand like tags and how to maybe have my videos appear higher in rankings. And this is just levels of support I never thought I would receive before, even down to people just saying they really enjoy my presenting style and it's just something different. And I've also had the ability to help people pass their Series 7 and the real estate exam from this channel. And that is just something I would have not expected when I first started it, but I'm beyond grateful for this opportunity. And I'll be honest, making these videos has made this transition into the new career so much better than it could have been. Because I can't really think I could stress enough, or I don't think I could stress enough how much I actually enjoy making these videos. And again, what makes it so much better is the positive feedback that I receive from all of you. So thank you so much for everybody that's done that for me, leaving a nice comment behind, or maybe even if it's just holding back a negative comment. Everybody has seemed to be so supportive with these videos, and it's just something that I can't be more grateful for. So thank you again to all of you who watch this, subscribe, and really help encourage me to keep making these. Alright, so my light died again. I apologize there, but yeah, as I was just saying though, I'm really appreciative of all of you and all of your support. Light looks like it's about to die, but I'll try to wrap this up quickly here. So thank you so much for watching all my videos, and just again for all of your positive support. It's probably like the 5th time I said that in this video, but I just can't stress it enough. So just to kind of wrap this up, the big question I'm sure a lot of you are asking is, and probably the one I get the most, is do I regret my decision of leaving my job? My answer is absolutely not. The thing is like I've been saying, I am just overall a much happier, and I think maybe a better person from leaving this job, because it's given me the ability to kind of calm down, focus on something new, and just remove myself from a situation that truly made me unhappy. And part of the reason too why I don't regret this is because I did it, and I eliminated that what if from my mind. I can no longer say, what if I was in real estate? What if I was doing something different? What if I was actually able to make YouTube videos? Because I have done that. And I think those what ifs are what truly drive people crazy. And I think it's just very important that if you think about something long enough and you're ready to make the jump, there's no need to keep thinking about it. You could just go ahead and do it. Obviously, there's planning in place and you need to save financially, all that stuff. And that would be the one thing I can say is make sure that you plan financially. Sorry, I got a message there. But it is crazy. As Jim Rohn said, it's just nice to know that at any point in time, you can make a change in your life. And I think it's something so many people fear to do. And you think about it, and it's just after so long of thinking about it, it's too late. And I didn't want to find myself in that position because I realized, I was 25 when I quit my job. I'm 26 now. This is the best time for me to make a change like this. And really, it could be the best time for you at any age. But it's just important that at least you could say, I've tried it before, I've experienced it before, because another quote, experience is what you got when you didn't get what you wanted. And I could say I have had a lot of experience this year because not everything went according to plan. But that's okay because I've learned a lot about myself. I've developed a lot as myself, both, as a person and professionally in my new career. And these are just experiences that I would have never had I stayed where I was. And so, sometimes I think like these YouTube videos is really as I've been saying, it's been a very nice added benefit that I was not expecting from leaving my job. And, sometimes I think you might set out on one path and another path comes up along that way. But had you stayed on the old path, you would have never found either one of those. I hope that makes sense. So if it's something that you're thinking about doing, again, as long as you've planned about it and this isn't just a spur of the moment kind of thing, I absolutely suggest that you try taking control of your life and doing what's going to make you the most happy. Because sitting there thinking, what if, is only going to drive you crazy. And if you can make the change, I don't see why you wouldn't. So that's kind of where I'll leave it there. So I'm very happy that I made this decision. Super happy about this YouTube channel. I really enjoy real estate. It's been difficult, absolutely, but that's what you expect with a new career, right? I hope. Hopefully I'm doing everything right and not something wrong, which is why it's so hard. But, again, I'm just so thankful for all of you, I'm happy that I made this change. And I just have to say, I want to, obviously thank my parents, because I know that they weren't thrilled or loved the idea at first of me leaving a job with benefits and salary and all that stuff for 100% commission, but they never told me not to do it. And they realized how unhappy I was. And having them kind of say, you know what, do what's going to make you happy was really what I needed to keep moving forward. Also, just have to thank my girlfriend, because she's been incredibly supportive during all of this. Like I said, basically both of our lives had to be put on hold because she's helping me out significantly financially, and I just can't feel lucky enough to have somebody like her that was also willing to put their life on hold so I can change something. And I don't think everybody has somebody like that in their life. So again, she printed out this background, has been supportive of my videos, has suffered through watching every single one of my videos with me multiple times, and has never complained once. So thank you, Coley, as well. It's just, I don't think without having the right support systems in place or support teams, this would have been much harder of a journey. So, I think another just key part, and where I'll end it here, is make sure you have the right people in your life and ones that allow for you to excel, not hold you back. Because if they're holding you back, you won't go anywhere. And if you have somebody that, keeps pushing you forward, then you're just going to keep going forward and forward in life. So keep that in mind. It's my 2 cents to end it. So thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Coley. And thank you to all of you for, again, just all of the support throughout these videos and series, and all of my rambles, where apparently I am not able to speak anymore. So I'll end it there. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. You could be anywhere in the world, and you're right here with me, and I really appreciate that. But I will let you go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm trying to get better at saying it.